Hi, welcome. And Assalamu alaikum, and good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depends on time zone. So today, another day of our Digital Mastery 100 Days Challenge. So thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in time. So my apologies for delay because I was trying to with the new tools that got delayed. Sorry about that. So today, we are continuing our digital marketing sessions where yesterday we complete on a pay-per-click methods or a CPC package or a PPC package where discussions we have completed. Today we'll continue with the other aspects of promotion of the display advertisement. So that's the topic and the various strategies, the various terminologies we are going to discuss today. So once again, thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in for this session. And I'm sure this is one of the tools you will be utilizing. One of the strategies or one of the major methods all of you will be utilizing on a championship period. Okay, so it's very important because especially if you started your website soon or recently, and the website, you start and go to the display, championship. It's very important to have display art network there, even though it's working the completely different format, different level, but it's very important. So okay, thank you so much, all of you. Once again, I'll connect you to the PowerPoint and as usual, and we'll take you to the system now. And I request all of you take a pen and paper, and a lot of terminologies there today. So better you note down the things, okay? So and you all will also have a Q&A. If I finish this today, we can take a Q&A tomorrow. Let me see how yesterday we could cover many topics, but therefore yesterday we could not cover much. But today I'll try to do the maximum because we have only now 20 days left out. Okay, so thank you so much, all of you, and please get settled in. I'll connect you to the webinar part, okay, or the PowerPoint part. Okay, so welcome once again to all of you for the Digital Mastery Challenge of today, 80th day of 100 days. To October 7th, Wednesday, I'm live from Doha, Qatar. So today we are going to discuss about the topic of digital display advertising. So what exactly is digital display advertising? And what is important of that? How we can utilize it? And in which segment or what kind of businesses we should use it? And the terminologies and glossaries. These are the things we are going to discuss today in detail about it. So first of all, before we go and jump into the terminologies and the process, which is quite challenging to go through and get the entire detail. So first of all, we try to understand what exactly we are talking about. So one of the interesting thing about internet advertisement is whatever you wanted to buy or avail to know, or whatever you search, and that ad keep following you. It's compared to newspaper advertisement or TV commercial advertisement, or the advertisement of any other billboard or a hoardings advertisement, or any other those who know advertisement in ATL and BTL model. So here, in the advertisement world, here is as a customer get followed what really you wanted. So advertisement is keep coming back to us, and most of the time you can surprisingly, especially those who are new to the internet or recently started looking at the advertisement part of this, surprisingly to see what exactly, hey, I just thought about it. I could see their ad. When they say something, they thought about it, because already they've shown their behavior or interest or some action, knowingly or unknowingly, they had taken to the ad coming to our display in our devices. This is an interesting thing. Most of the time, people, you went to a website, you try to buy a shirt or a dress or a phone or a laptop or any other product, or maybe a travel tickets or a travel packages, and you can see keep coming back the same product again and again, not one or two times, thousands of times, right? And whenever you go there, maybe over a period of 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, even after 3 months later, it come back to you again that show you, hey, are you ready now? Are you ready now? So this is a fantastic method of advertisement to reach out to the customer. So as a customer point of view, when you look at the thing which we really wanted, only they're showing, that's a good thing. Which is completely unrelated to will not come to us, which is somewhat some kind of interest, some kind of a connection we have, we can do this. And this also advertisement also derived, in various based on your actions, like the way you send an email, what you communicated on your WhatsApp and Facebook, what you communicated to to your messenger and on a FaceTime, what he spoke to the people on the Google OK, all the thing, it's automatically captured. What the video you watch on YouTube, the site history, the browsing history, and the pages you visited, the action you have taken, everything is connected on the advertisement aspect here, right? So now, one way, the customer point of view, when you really look into that, what exactly are looking, it come to you. So I just, you can see so many people tell you, even you might have an experience, oh, I was just thinking about it, then I'm start seeing ad. Even I didn't speak to anyone. The reason maybe one or the other way, maybe if someone send you an email based on the details, which is allowing the advertiser or a publisher showing this ad. So before even you are reading that email, interesting, right? Before even you are reading. For example, a friend of mine invite me to say from London, hey, Shan, you come over next week, and now we can do some planning, etc., etc. I have not read that email. I'm about to read that email, but even before I'm reading that email, my friend email landed in my email box. Based on that, the publishing network, advertising network, derived that this fellow's planning to go to London. He has some kind of a connection. So even before I'm opening that email, that display advertisement already started working. It is there, just my inbox. So that advanced it is. Now, based on that information, now a friend is inviting me to London for something. For that purpose, now he also mentioned that together we go to Los Angeles. Now from there we can go to New York, and we can set up the company over there, or we can do something on a business part. All this communication is tracked. That what the content is tracked, and based on that, they'll also show you London to New York flight, Los Angeles flight details, hotel details, restaurant details. Even in that mention, the day we can do fantastic shopping in New York is also connected. So everything, so for a consumer point of view, you can see people keep coming back to the person's life, various products and services. So this is, in a way, people see that is, as a customer point of view, what exactly they wanted, they see. Another merchant point of view, or a website owner's point of view, entrepreneur's point of view, brand point of view, you are only showing the people the advertisement which you expect people buy it. You're not showing someone like a newspaper ad. When you're putting a newspaper ad in the front page, you know that your target customer may be only less than 5% of the readers. In that 5%, you know that only another 5% only advertisement that see the advertisement. From that, again, another 5% only going to convert or to buy something. So in that, just a minute percentage of the target audience, but you have to pay complete newspaper, advertisement cost of that front page, what you're doing. And again, we see a lot many advertisement in the hoardings or newspapers, even a TV commercial, which is completely unrelated to us. And we don't even want that. We don't want, we don't even understand something. So when you look at that scenario, you can see the brands and companies are spending a lot of money and wastage of time and resources. All right. So here in the digital display advertisement, when you go to online, you show the people that really want it and the people who really are looking for the products. That exactly here is the point. So in this way, when you look at it, is basically, a digital marketer, create an online ad and offline campaign together. Also, people can run. So this is another interesting thing. People also do offline and online together. So now, when I tell you an example about something around 12 years ago, 2007, around 13 years ago, I did a workshop and attended a workshop from an advertisement guru of India called Alik Pudamsi. Went through his training on advertisement part. So those days, he was mentioning us today the advertisement history. He spoke about it. Then he predicted about it and said 95% of the advertisement is going to be on a digital. So that time it was on a double click. Now the Google acquired company was the highest net publisher network that day we had. I did not buy that one. 95%. It was unbelievable. But today, all the commercial advertisements, all the offline advertisements, they're reduced drastically. When we say reduced, the share of the advertisement budget is reduced. But when you look at it, the 95% go 95% they spent on digital, 5%, 10 to 15%, or 5 to 10% they spent on the offline. But the offline also that linked with online, right? So that's where the world has moved on. So when you look at it, this industry is a phenomenal growth is happening. And whether you are planning to start your own business and promoting your business, or you want to be a professional, or you really want to take advantage of, you're a retail merchant, you wanted to take advantage of a digital display. So this is today's session is for you. So we will discuss about how you can utilize this aspect on it. And it's this kind of a plan B of our campaign when you look into. So we're working for an email campaigning. We are looking for a social media influencers. We are looking forward to have a we're looking forward to a kind of an arrangement with influencers and other campaigns. All these campaigns, if it does not work, actually display ad can be a substitute to reach out, or to increase the conversion ratio. Digital display page play a major role. There are a few strategies like a roadblock, and that we'll discuss today. So where you get an idea, so how the people are getting maximum conversion through advertisement part. So now online advertisements is basically a display ad, basically come with a copy, logo, images, map, and videos, and anything but a consumer basically browse, it's a part of it. Now there are something called a publisher. Those who publish your ad, and through different media channels, social media channels, and the devices, it's up here, right? So it's the people, the publishers, that pick the relevant website, relevant social media channels, and the devices. So important. Yesterday we discussed about the devices. It's a very important decision you have to take. So here it is. Now. We discussed what SEO part is basically all of the driving and traffic to your website, right? So that's what is exactly we discussed for the last two lessons. Now, when you look at it, there's something on a digital display. So now SEO, search engine optimization. There's something called DCO, digital. What's that? Digitally, when we do this, we need to optimize it as the digital content. We need to optimize it as so. There's something called DCO also we need to discuss today. Okay, so it's a sniper link. Now, digitalizing this, optimizing, or that's the right word, optimizing the advertisement is also important, because you're spending money, you need a conversion to happen. So what exactly the DDA? So that from there we'll start on a digital display advertising. So when we start a digital marketing aspect here, it's in a technically or a definition wise, when you go, it's a kind of a form where appearing, relevant commercial messages to a targeted audience or a specific audience based on their behavior, like which we discussed over psychographic and demographic. So a simple way, it's their profile. So the profile include the psychographic and demographic information on it. So that's not official, or maybe when you Google it, you get this kind of a definition. But informally, we can say this is your on-screen pickup line. Okay, this is what exactly you're going to tell to the people to get the conversion. So when you look at the display advertising, so we'll start with the fundamental part. Now, it's a fantastic for branding. So this is one of the best way to convey your brand to your target audience the way you want to, with customized, and every time you come out with the new methods and completely customizable, and to reaching out to all the devices and doing it. It may not do a good result like compared to an SEO, especially a long tail keyword with an SEO. The conversion ratio is much lesser. Okay, but the cost when you look at it is almost equal. So you should spend more to get more conversions. So conversion ratio we talk about around 3%, right? 3%. No, in some cases 0.3%, sometimes 3%. Here you take it at 0.1%. So you need to have millions of display. Something called a CPM, which we discuss about it, then you get a conversion. So we need to have that one. Okay. So what are the things to consider before you move on with the display ad? So one is actually, that you spend an offline and online. Now, here, when you spend an advertisement in the physical world, the traditional world, it varies across the media. So advertisers are normally, usually fork everything with the TV commercials and radio advertisement and news advertisements, hoardings advertisement, etc. Now here it is basically when you look at it is people change to digital display, as I mentioned to you. Now another important thing you can also see that is even the newspapers buy an advertisement from you. They'll motivate you put an advertisement. They say that is, we also have Facebook group. We also have a an advertisement on a newspaper itself. We also have a Google AdWords, or you have a YouTube channel. So they actually even the physical newspapers started linking their their advertisement marketing methods. So talking about advertisement bundle or a package bundle with a digital display. So that level things is actually improved, and we got the advantages now. Now, here is when you look at it is the display ad usually we spend on a, like email and Google AdWords, mobile and etc. And traditional advertisement, it is actually growing, especially in the US market when you look at it, is growing very, very high. And across the globe, that's the same trend. US is actually completely shifted to a kind of a digital part now. Now, this is going to be stay back. That's a good thing. All as long as we are online, we are engaged in the social media, we are engaged on a various website and search engines, we are engaged with various activities online. Plus, as long as we are using a devices, this will go into the part, right? So different part. Okay. So offline and online formats, it's a now we cannot separate. So it is a part and parcel now. So there is nothing called offline advertisement and online advertisement. It's come with a part of strategy. Okay. Now the move to when we online now, when you can see this is a fantastic love affair when you look at it is any traditional media is also people coming online. Now you as a digital entrepreneur also understand this is you have a complete combination you are getting a completely digital display, and you can also leverage the offline newspaper. So think about it, how we can increase our business by getting a more number of people online to our websites. Now, when you look at it, the people has more people now. The people has a 98% of the people in US actually have there is a devices at home to connect it, and when you look at the smartphones, people show the advertisement on the smartphones. Now we do multitasking with the smartphones as well, right? Now we have an online access, and each one, when you look at it, we have more devices than the people. So one person, I use a 3-4 devices. So I see on my laptop, I see on my iPad, I also see on my Macintosh, I also see on my mobile phones, and multiple devices. I'll able to see the things. Okay. Now, more people are buying online, and there are few good things is also happening on the payment gateway, etc., etc. Okay. Now, when we look at it, here is who is the major people. So actually, Google AdWords and organic searches are really we are working right. That's one of the cheapest and best method we thought. Now, the most important part is in the advertisement world, also Google ruling the world, right? So Google make approximately 140 to 160 billion dollars every year, and the major revenue this is from advertisement. So this kind of a revenue they're making. At the same time, the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, everybody is also just behind, and they are also doing taking approximately Facebook make around 60 billion dollars through ad revenue, and there's Twitter and LinkedIn also may not be making that much money, but the advertisement point of view, it's a pretty effective. So it's a fantastic thing. Now, as you know, that because of the mobile, people see the advertisement on mobile devices anytime, whenever they even at no fantastic time the advertisers, the marketers catch them. So, for example, when you are relaxing at home, or maybe you're taking a lunch break or a coffee break, or we are traveling and we are waiting in the airport lounge or in the train, all the time where we are free, that's the time we take out the devices and go to YouTube or the social networking site or a browsing time. The brands and enterprises could reach us and tell us, hey, this is what we can do. So this is an amazing thing, opportunity we have to reach out and get the people on board as a customer. And not only once, is repeatedly doing, that's a good thing which we have. So here the most important thing, we need to have a optimized advertisements to get this target. Okay. Now, ultimately, we need to get them to buy things. Now, What in the when you look at the display industry, when you look at it, is there are huge opportunities which we have, and in that one of the best opportunities are retargeting and remarketing, and it's kind of a real-time bidding. Okay, so now what is exactly remarketing and retargeting? So I think we discussed this earlier, I mean, a couple of days ago. Again, we discussed. So just those who are attending first time, and if you forgot the terminologies, actually, just remarketing is basically someone who already visited our site or shown interest to us, or some kind of an action that can directly or indirectly done. The same person and his login IDs, his devices will be shown again and again, a kind of an advertisement. That's called remarketing. In the Facebook language, it's a retargeting. So we can do remarketing under retargeting, and this is one of the best way of advertising and getting the people. Someone came to your website and he visited a portion of your web page. Based on that, you understood, or he visited this page of the shoe. So you will show him the shoe of a formal shoe or a casual shoe, whichever they visited. So instead of showing all your 150 or 200 website pages, you only show particularly to that shoe part. So he will be able to buy, to go to the next part. Okay. Now, to convey this is actually like a traditional advertisement. We have an advertising agencies. We need to create a good creatives, good communication, good content, and it should be part of the marketing campaign and reach us that. So because of that, we need to understand little technology and mechanics, how it works. So if we understand this, is very easy to handle. Now, digital display advertisement is a kind of a process like we discussed. We are going to discuss about all the process like we discussed about the pay-per-click. So what are the key terminologies? One is called ad click. That's a very, very important part. So whenever an ad you click, that is called as a clicking. That is a cost per click, CPC, not a pay-per-click, PPC. So ad click is one of the major one. The moment you see click an ad, someone is losing money as a customer, right? Losing money, which means you have Google build them with one click, right? So Google or a Facebook is building them. So it's ad click is a thing, and you clicked and what do you take to next level? Maybe you will buy, you may not buy, it does not matter, but still they take click it, build that one. Next is called ad impression. So it is not, we are not clicking, but they keep showing various advertisements. There is an impression is coming in. That's called ad impression. So it is number of times you're seen, not necessarily you clicked or interacted. It just is there displayed. You might have seen ads. Sometimes you're not even looked into because you are not focusing on the ad then, but still that's called an ad impression. Then something called ad unique user is another terminology. One device it's showing is called as a one user actually. Okay. So that is also, especially the first time. So that is actually one of the measurement. It is the first time it is used. It is important aspect. Okay. Now, next one is basically cookies. So click we discussed actually number of clicks on a hyperlink when you're a person who's doing. It's called a click. Now we have something called cookies. Cookies is basically this kind of a internet language or a text file which is basically placed in the hard disk of the user. As we discussed in the legal part of this, with permission only we are able to do. We normally grant a permission. You might have seen many websites ask you about the permission. So usually you grant the permission. So that is that's called cookies. And based on that, the advertisement can be customized further. Okay. Now there is another thing like HTML, which is hypertext markup language. All of this is a kind of command or a code, for a browser part, interrupt their display page content and users. So it's a little technical aspect, only this portion, please don't worry, which is basically publisher takes care on that one. Then of course a keyword. Again, the keyword rule is different here for a display ad. With your target audience, not even necessary it should be a broad match or a long tail. It can be in general keyword as well, because you're going for a pay and doing this advertisement part. A page impression, that is how many times a page, a particular website is visited. Then something called rich media, which include graphics, animation, videos, audios, and infographics. So many other things is a part of that. This is activities. Now, So how many times a person is visiting? So that's called a visit. Sometime in at least 30 minutes between request. There is some kind of a unit they calculate. How often you click it again and again. So they'll not bill you more than once in less than 30 minutes time from the same device. Somebody clicked it, the advertiser is not going to pay. So there are a few rules, something like that. It's a part of the visit is also defined. What do you mean by the visit? Now, how this display ad works? So first is actually we create an ad. So like any other advertisement, we create an ad. So create an ad. So based on what we come out of the marketing campaign about the vision of the company, goal of the company, and achieve the goal. We need a sales or a marketing or a leads, whatever you want to do. That's part of the marketing part. And marketing campaign, where they decide to communicate to the people, like we discussed, I think I can communicate. We need to communicate to the people that the communication ad is our advertisement. So we need to create an ad. So to create an ad, it has to be very creative. Again, that IDA rule apply, an advertisement rule apply, and you need to branding objective or a lead generation and call to action should be there. So it's a very big subject on a creating ad, and a lot of agencies and corporate companies works on it, and even a simple display ad also is a part of that one. If not there, you can only want to do yourself. Actually, there are tools you can do. Not necessarily you have to go in a large scale, but you should know how the industry works here. And you have a brand ambassador, you have a so many media buying, etc. It happen on there. Now, now you need to choose the format based on a budget. Sometimes you are using a video, and you want to have fantastic professionally shot video where the shot with the camera, 2 3 cameras and drone, and you see a good quality, and you wanted to have, then you have to shell out the budget. So what is the solution? You choose any other method. There are so many different methods of videos where you can have an advertisement where people get, your ultimate objective is people should come to your website and buy. So it is not necessary you that way of shot. You can also have a normal video. For example, you wanted to do advertisement in Qatar living, so you need to put in your content there, and the content you can also have the cost, and then you display ad, you give the money. Okay. So when you design the ad, engaging, it's a balance between text and image. In the text and images, you need to combination good ad content you need to come, and you can use various Google tool, and Google have it in a dynamic way creating an ad. Now you give them a content, they make an ad, and so much of tools with AI based tools that the Google is using, we can have that one. So Google Display Network, in short called as GDN, is a well-known publisher, and they're the best one. They're the largest one, and they have the best one facility for us to use. Now, another network which we use is basically YouTube. It's also part of Google Display Network. Okay. Now, once you have this one, we will publish the ad. So when we publish the ad, we'll where it appears. So once you create an ad, then there's a configuration, and this we'll discuss a bit later. Now we'll discuss. Of course, we are discussing today itself a bit later, but important is the ad. What's created ad? It should be published to where and to whom and how often, frequency. Everything is a process we'll discuss. So you create an ad, and then you start showing the people. The moment you start showing the people, you need to keep paying the money. So now to whom you'll show, that's once you're publishing the ad. So once you identify the publisher, and you can actually publish across any media which you want to target based on your audience, you can do that one. Okay. Now you can also specifically you can do you can have a devices, you can have website, you can have a platforms, you can have a time, you can have a gender, you can have psychographics, you can have demographic, you can have devices. You say I want to only show the ad on the mobile app, mobile devices, all the thing you can do it. Okay. Now, where you want to show, it's absolutely your cover control, and you don't have to worry on that one. So once it is done, then they're serving that. So it's basically this process. They will allow to see the ad there. They will interact with that. So the millions of websites across the Google data network, which is Google Digital Network, it's the include New York Times and Facebook and LinkedIn, the sites appear your advertisement there. So this website will actually carry your advertising banner and spaces. So then once you started displaying, the people might take a decision called click. When they click, consumer displacement, they basically click and buy and subscribe. So basically, they will, it'll be engaged with you. Now, based on that, the messages you conveyed in the banner, they click, take an action. Sometimes immediately they buy, sometimes later they buy, sometimes it be lead generation, sometimes it be just branding purposes there. So one of the important things is the click-through rate. Now, how many people are clicking that ad is the important part. And once it started doing, then you have something called tracking the ad. Now you invested a lot of money, you put a lot of time, so you want to see who are clicking on this one, right? So you need to check with the interaction, to someone to receive the calls and responding by email, receiving the WhatsApp messages, receiving social media messages, and all the things is a very, very important part, and it's a continuously doing now to get a for the best result. Now, if your call to action is weak, then you should change it. Okay. This never, usually what happens is, for example, if you're going for a newspaper ad, once you release, you have a budget of $100,000 and you put $100,000 for one day advertisement, it's gone, right? Now, the morning itself, you start realizing, I remember now those days in which we released an advertisement in all India. So you start getting the calls, maybe eastern part of the country, like Assam or other things. So you understand the calls nature. Then you know that before other part of the country getting morning time, so you need to change it, but not possible because newspaper already published. So when you look at it that those days and now, the moment the campaign is gone out for 7 hours, 2 hours, from based on a result you received, immediately you can change, and you don't getting a conversion, you can change anytime. So it's a budget is completely under your control. You can have that, and this is very important. If underperform ad, you need to take an action immediately to change it and bring the best part. Now, the entire process actually something like that. You have advertiser and publisher and reaching to the customers. What are the process you do? First is create an ad, choose a format, design, and choose a publisher to where you wanted to publish on it. Now, publish ad, distribute across the sites, and you need to have a target audience defined, as we discussed. Your avatar of customers, to whom you are targeting is important, and the budget, how much money you want to spend. So once you decide that, you serve the ad through site impression and page impressions and all, you can give them. Then based on that, you get a lot of views, engagement, and clicks. So engagement is basically they'll ask you if a person interacted with you. So based on that, you can have a data. Clicks, you can have a data. So all this is important. Then after that, measure their impressions and conversions. Okay, so you need to track and so this is a total process. Now, before we go, what are the benefits and challenges for the display advertisement we have? Now, first of all, I think the budget is completely on control. The market is completely out now. We can actually anytime can change an ad. So because of that, we have a lot many benefits. First of all, there's really influence. You create an influence that really the people you wanted based on the buying behavior. You can actually teach them, train them, communicate them, and program them. That's a word many of the advertisement use people to. For example, the Coca-Cola, so they keep talking to you and they program the moment you're thirsty, you think about Coke, right? Same way, they keep doing it is, so that is possible to influence on it. Then you need to decide the targeting. Targeting is basically to whom you wanted to show this ad, and the return on investment, and identify how much money you make with that. And here is a complete control you have, as we mentioned. You have a budget control, you have time control, you want to change it now, you want to change the publisher, everything under your control. Now, you also need to integrate with your traditional media and existing the new media. That's the best way to promote this one. They also do something called segmentation. You can actually, you segment and do a campaign. Sometimes here it may not be possible. Here you can completely segment and target. So these are the major benefits you have. Now, what are the challenges we have? So challenges when you go, so sometimes when the banner is a blind list. Now, you saw so much time to one person, he may not take a in. When you might have seen one ad, a banner is following you almost 1 year. You never clicked it. And sometimes, there are cases of 1,700 impressions. And you can spend the money on it. So, but he's not taking a decision on it. Okay, so That's one of the challenge. We don't have any other option on it because that's a part of any advertisement part. Now, click-through rate, how many people are clicking, your 100 times in show, how much percentage of people are clicking, like YouTube we discussed with the CTR, here also applicable to this. Now, all the things is now we discuss about step by step. I go a bit slow. I know the quite slightly new to many of you. So we'll go all the 4 steps as we did yesterday. So the 4 steps of defining objective again. Yesterday we spent a lot of time on objective. So today also I'll start with this again objective. So when you're doing a campaign, you need to decide what kind of an objective you want to do that one. Okay. Now then format of the budget. Add format, and based on the budget you need to fit into, or you cannot maybe with the brand ambassadors, celebrity endorsement with a 3-4 camera shot on a good location. You may not require to do in a video content to make a simple video content, and you don't require to have a great multinational or a big brand to create. Of course, you can do like other company does. If you wanted to create a brand, you need to spend that way. But if you don't want to do, still you can have a good one for a format to come out of the campaign model. Then configuring and targeting. It's very important. So you configure to whom you want to reach out. You can configure and then track the details. And of course, the analyzing. So what is happening around, learning from that and moving forward. Now, when you look at here, you're defining your customer base, demographic like age, location, and interest is very, very important. So you have to define. So here comes the picture as we discussed earlier. You're defining your customer. Again, we are going back here again. So you are to create your avatar, your psychographic and demographic as your customers. And you need to keep that in mind to do this one. Now the format. Now when you look at the format, so here is actually different kind of a format on different website. Now it depends upon which website you have a different format. Then we need to configure as well. What kind of people I don't want to utilize it, one time, date, and display, where you will show, etc. Then we analyze it as what is really happening, which ad is working, which one is good giving result, which one is getting a lead, which leads are converting, where the source of the display, the convertible tools come from, etc., etc. So part of analyzing part. So what are the first step for you that you should do? First of all, defining objectives. So no doubt about it. Again, yesterday we discussed this. So defining objectives is very, very important for every action we do. Now, find is actually the audience. So audiences may be based on a gender, location, maybe a likes and dislikes, everything, right? Then we need to segment this audience. So based on their interest and based on what exactly they're looking or a past history, everything is important. Now, so the intent to buy, now you need to understand. Sometimes people register, sometimes they avail the coupon, sometimes they subscribe to your newsletter, sometimes they just inquire. So you need to know their intent to buy or not. And based on that, you can do some certain strategies to move forward. Now, this we discussed about earlier, the digital customer persona in a various aspects on when you discuss about psychographic and demographics. Now, here is when you display ad, this is the most important part. Why? Because Google or Facebook, all these companies ask you to whom you want to show. So you remember at this point we discussed earlier how the customer profiling will be there. So now if you're targeting a young girl, that you're configuring, so you know that she checked regularly the email and you're on a phone. Here, both places you can show advertisement. You've seen on the email place, you get an advertisement, you also get a promotional email. Then you have an iPhone. So many of the people browse it, or YouTube they watch, or they, anything they do, and can be, you can use as a advertisement. I'm talking now completely advertisement perspective. Now she lived in London, which means you want only target London, so you can actually target those people as well. And she's a fan of a Pinterest, which means in social media you need to be there on a Pinterest to be with her, to connect with her. And another device is her MacBook, so you want to show her the advertisement based on a MacBook, you can do. And she also has another profiles. Based on that, you can also plan other way of reaching her. Okay, so that's an example of a young girl person. Now if it's another person, maybe your target audience include a business person. So there is a he's whatever he does, he also check the email. He also has a MacBook. He also has social media profiles, and he also refers to the Wikipedia. Now, these kind of a thing, what is a information is very important. So now you can actually configure the people has only credit card, those at least done a one purchase. So it's a fantastic thing to do because you are planning to do some kind of a premium or some kind of subscription. You want to put credit card in your account. That's a fantastic thing you can think about. So that is an important part to have. Now, so each customer's profile. So these profiles we need to have before we start communicating, right? So that's important aspect. Now, all these things depends upon the what they do, and advertisement can be customized in one platform. You don't have to go for another platform. So publisher account, you can do all these things. So each and every devices may be different habit may be different. All the things will be in a different, and you need to target based on that one. So this, I think, all of you got an idea. So that's the reason your avatar of a customer, your customer profiling, to whom you're targeting, it's become very, very important. If you don't do a good job there, you lose money, and you don't get an expected results as well. So you can find that, your customer path. Then we need to reach out the publishers. The publishers are the people publish your ad, like a GTN. You can also have display panel, etc., and you can also have certain specifications, like a format, size, and downloader speed. Everything is matter when you're publishing on it, and you can also do voice, etc. on that. Now, here once all the things ready, you know the objective. So yeah, the what are the objective of your ad? So as a digital marketer, you need to know always about the objectives. Can be building a brand. It can be raising the awareness of something, or engaging the customers, or a direct response to receive it is now, or connecting to the social media, or maybe generating leads and on increasing the conversion and sales. So these are the major objective of the person who's doing this kind of an activity. Okay. So once you do this one, there is a step called you need to set a goal of your display ad. So there are different formula, which one other formula we discussed sort of PPPTFM. But here, most of the people, as I mentioned in the technology word, use a smart. You want to use a smart is a fantastic. You can do smart. So you think about it as you set a goal for achieving 100 sales by 2020. So December 2020, you wanted at least 100 sales happening. So you're very specifically talking about what you want to do, achieve on it. Now it's really measured one. Measured one is actually, you can actually track, accurately, track your progress, and you understand how many people are seen at, or how many CPM we are paying, and how much the result I'm getting, how many people are, responding to it, etc. It's important part. Now we also take certain actions, action balance to influence the outcome. That's a very important part. Then we have to have a realistic, certain achievable goal. It's not to because you say I'm going to advertisement, Facebook, and so much of growth. It won't happen like that. You need to spend money, and proportionately, you get the result as well. So you set an achieve, a realizable goal where you can achieve. You also set up the time, what you want to achieve through this campaign. Then this time, very important, and also the goal which you're setting is important. Now, based on that, you need to tell them, I want to achieve this one, so I feel this is the objective. Not necessary, you need to define your objective, even go to those. Let the other person also understand. But when you need to listen and tell them your objective very clearly. So the objectives are very important to understand. So you need to tell them, I need a sales and a back, whatever you want to do, you do that one. Okay. Now, what are the formats your ad should appear? So we'll go to step 2 in that, the format advertisement. So, and the budget. This two things is a defining factor for your budget part. So a lot of display advertisement you've seen it is. Now, online, we are limiting the discussion only with what is that? With a digital display network. I'm not talking about any other thing at the moment. Okay. So it's generally the page, because the first messages people see basically people do the best one. So you can leaderboards are generally at the top of the page. You have top of the page. I'll show you the picture. Imagine. I mean, I have the image. Yeah, I'll show you this. Okay. Now you have mid-place unit in the middle of the content, middle of the page. You can also have another one. Okay. Now you also have something called skyscrapers. Now where some of the areas which is basically you get that one in the home page itself. Then something called island. Now static sad and what to say, this is for completely for a different niche you can do. I'll just show you an example of the things. So this is the way advertisement we see, actually lead board, then half banner, then and island, white skyscraper, front skyscraper. So all the banners, keep it there. Now you might have seen an affiliate website, we kept all these kind of banners, and we can also to understand about that one. Okay, so you've seen it is this how it works. Okay. Now, so there is something in this format. I think all of you know how it works on it, right? Okay. Now we go to the next one. Is a roadblock. So a roadblock is a combination of two or more ads in the same campaign and the same page with the same message. So it's called a roadblock, and people consider roadblock. Even I also consider roadblock as one of the best methods to show to the people I am here. So example is this one. So roadblock is something you've seen. It is what are the pages available in the home page? They're added all the banners there. So it's called roadblock. So roadblock, and a customer is forced to see, and what kind of what's that? The ad is displayed everywhere. Okay, and people definitely see. In this kind in the Washington Post, you click on the Samsung ad, the person who's coming to read the newspaper definitely see, right? And he might be interested to see that so much of an advertisement, he would be interested to click and understand what exactly this offer on. Another one is a display ad on social media. So social media, as you know, this is very popular now. YouTube is has a different format, and also Facebook has another format. Here, take an example of a YouTube format. So usually, the most of the time we see skippable video ads. So you see in a video ad, sometimes you watch more than 20 minutes, sometimes you watch less than 20 minutes. Depends upon the advertiser revenues are different there. So that is called a skippable ad. This all of you know. That is, you can skip after 5 seconds. You can click it, but when you watch around 20 seconds, someone made money. Okay, so when you're the monetized channel, you wanted people to make money. Don't skip it. Let's keep there at 20 seconds. Then it not usually come with a 30 seconds ad, right? Usually it will be there. Okay. Now, second one is a non-skippable video ads you are giving to the people, and don't allow them to skip the video. So that's another format you can have it. So skippable video, non-skippable video. Then bumper ads, you've seen it is shown sometime. You also seen overlay ads. It's like a banner. There's a display ad and sponsored card. So particular event, and this one you only utilize only for the sponsored cards. You utilize this maybe 1 year time or 1 month time, and you don't have to pay anything apart from that money. So not for the display. You say, I give you $2,000, don't ask me any more money, let me reach out to thousands of people. They don't bother. So this is one method. You can also have a sponsored card. So all this thing has a different cost. The cost is scattered to many things, where you're showing your psychographic, demographic, the products you're promoting, the influencer method, all the things are part of this program. Okay. Then YouTube, usually 5 to 10 seconds we can skip it, and it is it's based on a browsing history show to the people. And then this is an example. This are the thing we should know. Now Facebook is a powerful advertising tool, and they also have like and share at the moment. They also can really give you demographic and location information. Sometimes some cases are much more than the Google. As you know, many other people are not there in Google, but they are in the WhatsApp. So that way it is improved now, right? So Facebook also has a different ad format. So when you wanted to promote something, you go to Facebook and Facebook tell you to come on this one. We don't want sizes this format. It's standard one, they do it on it. Okay. So it's a very important part on it. Okay. And it's also appear in various various brands and various social media sites. It's already happening in there. Now, Facebook and Twitter, the price was also a lot of difference, but depends on a tag and your target audience and budget. you can decide what to do. So it's important is allocating the budget. So it's a very important step is allocating the budget when you are putting this one. Now, the money part is very important. When you put a credit card, Google take the money. So important aspect. So you need to spend, a few things. One is your target audience. You need to define who are your target audience. Second one is what are the publishers' price points for how much is charged for RPM. Okay, so how much is cost per milli, how much is charging. So CPM, how much is it charging? So this is very important to know. Unworked location from where it is, and how they, the creatives is working, how the content part. So it's very important most of the time. Okay. The cost that you need to take into considerations majorly, cost per milli, which is all of milli. We have been talking about every advertisement point of view. So advertisers pay you as a publisher, around maybe around 1 CPM, maybe around $5, $2, depends upon this. So CPM is a cost per milli, right? Every 1,000 visit, you get paid. So this is the way we discussed in the affiliate. Now here you pay. You wanted your advertisement to show to someone, you pay for a CPM. So you understand now the important part. So now you decide to publish something in the New York Times, they will charge you based on a CPM. They'll tell you, okay, this is this many CPM, you need to pay for this advertisement. Then we give you a newspaper, a separate price. Okay, this is important part. Okay. So it is now thousands of time. No, sorry, so many 1 million is 1,000. So a lot of things record. Here it is thousands appear in the impression part. It is to be how to say. It should be always engagement should be there on that. Now we'll come to the cost per click. So every click you need to pay, right? So here you only look at it when you discussed earlier, whether it's affiliate program or digital products or AOBB, where we talk about CPM, we get paid. We get paid for a click. Now we are other side. We are paying money to others to show our advertisement, right? So it's a very, very important to have a proper structure and promote on it. There's another one that's called CPL, cost per lead, which is again we discussed earlier. Now we are talking about different perspective. So where you pay to the companies and website owners for keeping your website properly. Okay, so this is another important aspect. Now there's another thing called cost per acquisition. As you know, that is as we discussed about, it's also one of the revenue we generate through the affiliate cost per acquisition. Now another method of advertisement is a sponsorship. You can randomly sponsor one video completely, and you can take a 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and no other brand will come to you, and you give the complete sponsorship for one video. So it's called sponsorship. Now you can have an exclusive ownership position in a period of time. You are the boss. You can decide how much time to spend and everything. You have complete control. You have a login ID. You can increase and decrease the budget whenever you want. Now, once we do this, there's a media format options out there. What is exactly format options? So this format options are basically how do you it to show to the people once it's how the cost involved. How do I say that is where we when we discover, when we have creative, when we discuss, we published, and how it is shown, and that's shown, and which format, like a display format, you can have a link format, so different format we can have that. So there are a lot of options for that. You can go to the GDN, like a Google Display Network, and you can also get the format from digital agencies and other things they give you. So this format, advertisement format, it comes with something like ad copy. And ad copy must include your CTA. That's important. So call to action. So you shown somebody, I'm available here. So call to action, either call me, click me, or encourage us, CPL it is. You make sure that is you have a call to action in your website. And it also should have a good design. There are a few do's and don'ts by the Facebook and all. We need to take care of that. This percentage of content and image, etc. is a matter. Okay. So the publisher need to maintain the target audience and based on the keywords. Okay. And your brand also display prominently, and make sure that direct, concise, and urgent language you keep it there. Okay. Once you have all the elements in place, you need to check your ads are working. So when you're working, you can do split testing or A/B testing. So which method is you're done well, then you can continue that. So what are the things in A/B testing part? You do content and the offer, and offer is exciting or not, people are going to value or not. Then what is the price for it, which include taxes and import everything. Then think about the creatives. So what are the creatives? Are the communication tools you made, brochures, pamphlets, and leaflets, and videos, and web Facebook posts, and look at that, create. And of course, the call to action button. What the call to action? You limited offer, scarcity, or whatever you have done, it's important. Then what the banner size you have chosen. So based on all the things, when you do an A/B testing part, you make sure that is one more aspect there, because the budget per person is spending on it. Okay. Now test accordingly. So you need to configure. So configure and targeting ad is a very, very important step of going forward. So when we two things here is, one is a tracking and understanding and configuring. It's a continuous process, not one time. Now it's a good appear. You need to appear in the first page or whenever the people are searching, and you have to measure their what exactly they're looking and better result you wanted. Now you're scheduling a communication to create a maximum impact. So the time is important, and you can schedule for a different people for a different time. That's we are already doing it. Okay. Then targeting. So targeting is basically what do you say? To whom you know to want to show this one. It's important. Now it's not a generic like a newspaper ad. This completely targeted, as we discussed earlier, right? So when you see an ad on Instagram, and it means, which is basically they're defining you as a customer and they're showing you. So based on your browsing history and everything, in the patterns and preferences and frequencies is important part. So the targeting options, you can go for something called contextual automatic placements, and Google evaluates a keyword and plays it automatically. That's one part. And you get a relevant terms, keywords, already space, use the keywords properly placing on it. Now you have something called managed placements. Select a specific site where you want to run this one. Then you can also take a topics in the website, like about which are the topics you wanted to do, which are, you can actually select that one. You can also choose interest categories. You think it's a person said that his interest is lifestyle and sports, you can actually include that as well. Now, of course, we discuss as a remarketing aspect. So remarketing aspects, so a major portion of of the digital display, you need to show the display, and you may not get a conversion from there, but that reinforcement helping to eventually take help in the later part. Then you have something called DCO, as I discussed about display campaign optimizer, where you have an auto optimization also. You can do that one. So it is important to have a conversions also. So DCO is basically campaign optimizing part, but conversion rate optimization is the most important part, and CRO will closely work with that. Now you have a demographics, ads user based on gender and age you can have, and you can track all the things, what is happening, everything, and who's reaching out, and who's working hard to reach out, and who is looking for ROE, etc. And you can also track the based on interactions, and based on a CTR click-through rate, you can do that one. Now, something called video completion or a conversion rate. So number of times you have the video watched, and every 30 seconds they play end. So they get an additional part. So it's called conversion rate part. And usually the people prefer embedded videos instead of clicking a display ad. So it's another method you should consider as a strategy. Now, every time that ad is viewed in expanded state, so that's another way. So one advertisement seen by multiple people, and it's also considered as a next level ad. Now, display ad has become more playful and less static. So that's even Google done a fantastic changes these days. So you need to go and understand on it. Anyway, we'll have one session regarding that as well. Okay. Now, average display time for how much time you want to show an ad. You can configure in the YouTube or in the Facebook, all the thing, you can show that one. Now, So usually the ad is recommended 15 to 30 seconds to use that one. So display time, that's the best one. Okay. Now, you also take an advantage of our reporting sources, which include publishers and agencies analytics that give you how many people are coming, from where they're coming, which devices they're coming, what their response, how many pages they're going, which are the pages they visited first, which are the pages that went late. And you can also see the sales. Because of that, any sales happening, you're shopping or you're doing any sales. So it's important to have that one. How much sales you are getting on it. Then something called ad network, large media outlets. So Google, that's a Google Display Network is definitely the biggest one. But there are so many other things as well. So now you also need to have an analytics part. So that's the last part of this. So you need to have a good analytics, what is happening. So in the Google Analytics, you can, of course, AdSense and DoubleClick, which was actually part of the Google now, which is no more a DoubleClick. It's a part of a Google. Okay. So it's a offline reporting. You can cross-check what's happening. That's a coupon is there, redemption is there, purchase there. We need to check that. So that's a step number 4 now. Analyzing part. So what is the focus, 4th stage? The optimizing aspect, maximizing your resource is important, and when you're measuring your result to get the maximum detail on this one. Okay, and it's very easy to understand all the things now. How your money making? Okay, how many people, what's your click through rate? How many interactive rates they have it is. The next expansion rates and bounce rate. These are the major parts to do. Then, of course, the page view, average time on a page, conversion, direct traffic source, and everything important. Now, you also check the ROI, the return on investment, how much money you're spending, how much money you're getting back. That's an important aspect as well, right? So you need to do a real-life tracking to do this display network as well. So within the analytics dashboard, you can create your own goals and objectives. Think about the visual of the funnel. Now a person come to your website, or maybe even not even come to your website, you targeted them, then you again retargeting them or remarketing them, then he come to another page, then he look at your product, he not buy it, then again he look at the page, he not buy it, then he looked in to add to the shopping cart or inquired something, then add to the shopping cart, he's not coming back and paying. So all the things will be there. That's the reason you need to have a kind of a funnel visualization, how it is happening around. Okay, so now when you look at the Google Analytics happen, the funnels is basically maybe depends on your nature. It will be it's vary. Maybe from the home page, so person landed in the landing page, then he looked at the product page. In the product page, he added to the shopping cart. Then after adding shopping cart, he chose payment options. Then he came out. Then there is a CRM activator over there. Okay. So this kind of a complete visualization is required for us to have to complete campaign. So Google gives you this one. So you should be able to utilize it. You should be able to understand it as each one of your website. Those who are joining the championship, you'll have at least 1 or 2 campaigns. So if you don't understand these campaign aspects, it will be very difficult for you to even to make others to do for you, because it's important for you to understand. So please go through and understand. Okay. Now, once this analyze all, they go to the stage number 4. So now when you go to the laws and guidelines, of course, there is a huge thing is very important. First is any advertisement rule is there is also applicable in this one. Now, for example, you cannot advertise alcohol. You cannot. Some country, you have a Qatar has more restrictions. Some country has a less restrictions. Some countries even drugs is legal. Some so all the things are there. So you need to consider from where you're putting an ad and from where your account is connected. That's a place you need to take care of that one. Okay. Yeah. Now, wherever you live, you need to be aware of that particular region law and guideline. Publisher, you need to check it. You also should check it online about the restrictions, and you'll be getting into trouble unless you look at that one. Now, here it is a very important part. If you set up your own publisher account, your own Google ad account, and usually they will also send you a notice. I'll tell you a couple of examples which has happened to me. For example, so something like insurance. My client was in a hospital, so I did a campaign for their health card. So when I was doing a health card campaign, there is something called pre-existing disease. The pre-existing disease is some of the insurance company normally don't cover. But we, it's the same thing like, that the hospital had something called a maternity package. Usually the insurance company, that's the time, the maternity coverage only start with the second year. Okay. So when I was doing this health card as a consultant for this company, I customized this package saying that, utilizing a benefit. There's something called heterogeneous and homogeneous. So the homogeneous group, usually the pre-existing disease allowed. A heterogeneous group is not. Okay. So one is that. Second one is because it's a closed group, which is what we had done is, instead of a second year, with the 10th month onwards, the maternity period started. You don't have to wait for 1 year. So, which means even the lady can take it, or people can gift as a maternity gift for it to the group. So it was a great success. I think one of the consulting, which I very proudly say, one of the leading hospitals, because I'm telling you the troubles. I don't want to use the brand. It's all of you, one of the very popular one. The moment I used an advertisement, because including me involved in the part is called pre-existing disease cover, but actually we get into trouble. So which cannot be advertised, which is they're saying you're misguiding people. Actually, we were not misguiding, but we utilized a method saying it is we have a homogeneous group. And now the question is why you wanted to go for a display ad if it is homogeneous group, why you wanted to attract a new people. You understand? So this is a little complicated. It's not just you're putting an ad and coming away. So you need to consult, take a second opinion. So we had a trouble, we got a legal notice, we need to reply and we have to call the ad. Once first part we was, along with us, Google was also party, they file a case, and of course, so much of things happen because of course the competitor made the issue. So this is the way. So you need to know about all these parts. Same way, sometimes other companies' brand when you use. Sometimes Google or them ask you, you need to take a permission. Another example to tell you, for example, I was doing a workshop with one particular hotel. So I put in an advertisement, is a workshop happening so-and-so hotel. So they said, that's not your brand. Google said, it's not your brand. You cannot use it. I said, my program is happening in this hotel. So they said, you wanted to permission. I said, I don't know if they give permission. This is my booking. Then actually they allow me to use it. So these are the things. So if you know your brand, if you know your copyright, and you need to be careful about the laws and guidelines to run the ad. Now, maintaining a privacy is a very, very important. As you know, the GDPR compliance in the most website, this is a very cookies policy. You cannot reveal it is, and it's mandatory for digital marketers to display these policies. We say that we use cookies. We need to convey to the consumers. Now, creating a copyright, as you know, like any other ad network, it's also important. You cannot use a copyright, issue. When you go for display network, definitely don't use it as a pirated one, or without the right the promotional part. And you need to contact the people and do the properly, or at least good private label, which you don't get into trouble. Okay, so this is a very important aspect. So now, before we conclude, we will actually take some of the important part. Now, make it is actually ad is a very simple thing, and it's a very good and like an IDA rule. You grab the attention and convey the message, and you want to have a CTA there. And use your publisher's expertise. Don't go, this as I mentioned, one of the objectives to make you understand it's not that easy. The configuration, the planning, the everything, you need a publisher to help you for it. So it's a huge difference it makes on it. And you need to have a different tools. It's like an advert planner, all the thing you can use it and optimize as well. And now, when you look at it, is now not only in a CTR you have to focus. You need to really look into you need to have a success. You need to get a good success one with the campaign part. The most important part is your audience, and your audience. Then only go. If you don't understand your customers, you don't understand your audience, please do not design that campaign. So make sure that you build persona and the behavior and their preferences, etc. The another important part is you need to ongoing part. You need to stay on a track, and that's the important aspect. And you also should get a good creatives for to do these activities. Unless your creatives are not looking good and smell good and impressive, people are not going to do it. So these are the important part. So I think we are done for this display network, and thank you so much, all of you. I guess you've got a minimum idea. I think I want you to start trying about these network part now. And so once we do a campaign, I think you'll have much more ideas as well. Okay, so thank you so much, all of you. Now, a couple of minutes from now, I'll join the mastermind. And you have any questions? So today, with thank you mail, and tomorrow morning you get a quick Q&A. So tomorrow we'll do a complete Q&A about the digital marketing of the last week we are done. And last week, we had only question. We had it on only on. We have niche on our ISM today and yesterday, day for yesterday, last 3-4 days, last entire week, and before that week, whatever the question you have, you can send out. We will answer. I know that you'll have a lot many questions on this one. Okay, so thank you so much, all of you. So I'll see you in the mastermind group a short while from now. Thank you.